Hello, and welcome to Taste the Main Line with Alice Dagit. Hi, I'm Alice. This is a monthly show that shines a spotlight on the area's top restaurants that every March lend their considerable talent and superb cuisine to the annual Taste the Main Line event. Only the area's very best restaurants are invited to participate in Taste the Main Line, which benefits the Emergency Aid of Pennsylvania Foundation. The Emergency Aid is an outstanding volunteer organization located right here in Wayne, which greatly improves the lives of local women, children, and families through its extremely effective scholarships, mentoring, and grants. The fine restaurants that host Taste of the Main Line in March are the area's most respected. So today I am enormously pleased to have with me Chef Andrew Masciangelo of Savona. Savona is the truly excellent Radnor restaurant whose unique history dates back to revolutionary times. But you'd never know it from its upscale contemporary interiors and equally contemporary menu. So, let's welcome Chef Andrew Masciangelo to the show.
Thank you, Alice.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I am so glad to have you and be talking about Savona, because it's a fabulous mainline institution.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
It's older than our country.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about the building and about the restaurant?
The building was built by John Sturgis as his home in 1762, and then after that, during the Revolutionary War, it became a headquarters for Aaron Burr to set up a picket post between the Schuylkill River and Lancaster Avenue to kind of guard the encampment of Valley Forge. So it's
a picket post. I've never asked what I knew the restaurant in its previous incarnation as the Picket Post Inn, but I never questioned what the word picket post mean. What's a picket post?
I'm not sure exactly. I know that they set up a line there to because people were crossing the line into the British territory to supply food and sell them food and stuff like that. And that's kind of why they brought Aaron Burr in at that time, because he was a hard, firm leader, and they wanted him there to kind of
maintain it
and make sure they were secure.
That's fascinating. So it really was probably just literally a picket post, but there was a house there.
Correct.
That became his headquarters.
Yep.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
So then, fast forward.
Like you said, it was a restaurant for several years. I'm not sure exactly how long the picket post was there prior to Savona taking over in 1997. Mm-hmm. So in 1997, the restaurant opened in October. I started shortly thereafter in December of 1997, making salads right out of culinary school.
That's fabulous. Yeah. So you're kind of a lifer there. You've been there since the beginning of it.
Since the beginning.
Oh, my goodness.
It's become a second home. I kind of figured out that of all the places, we moved around a lot when I was a child, and of all the places I think that restaurant, I've spent more time in that building than I have in any other building in my entire life. Yeah, exactly, including homes. So.
Oh, aren't you lucky?
Yeah.
Because it's something that you just love.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up in the Philadelphia area?
No, I was born in Aiken, South Carolina. Moved to Anderson, South Carolina, Newark, Ohio, Amarillo, Texas, Jackson, Tennessee, and then ended up in Central Pennsylvania and Huntington, Pennsylvania. My dad worked as a textile engineer for Owens Corning Fiberglass. So I went to Philadelphia Textile and Science, and then moved all around the country with that job.
So that's where your high school years were?
Yeah, my high school was in Central Pennsylvania, correct.
And then how did you get into the restaurant industry?
We always cooked at home a lot, and we'd be responsible for part of the dinner as children. And my family likes to cook a lot and likes to feed people and entertain. So it was always something I really enjoyed doing. And then in high school, I got a job in a restaurant and fell in love with working in the kitchen, and decided to take that as my career path.
You never went any other different direction?
No, that was it.
That captured you.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
And with great success, too. I think you moved along pretty well.
Yep.
Because you were impressing the people around you.
Yep.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So then you went to culinary school.
Yes. And when I graduated, I graduated in December of '97. And that Thanksgiving break before graduation, I knew I wanted to move down to this area because my grandmother lived in Bryn Mawr, and I had a free place to stay.
Oh, that's really handy.
Which always helps. So I came down over Thanksgiving break and dropped off some resumes around. And when I walked into the building, I just fell in love with it, and they offered me a job, and I started a couple months after.
I don't want to say you've had a charmed life, but it certainly kind of half sounds that way. You were very lucky to fall into Savona.
Yes.
Everything came together at the right time, in other words.
Yeah. I remember passing it as a child, going to my grandparents' house, traveling from all over the country. My mother's mom lived in Horsham, so back then there was no Blue Route, so we would have to go up from Willow Grove to Valley Forge and get off there and come down past the restaurant.
Now that you pointed out, you are in a perfectly central location. All roads lead to Savona, so to speak.
Right.
They really do. I have childhood memories of it, too, because there's the legend that the Hanging Rock protect Washington and his troops going to Valley Forge. So I remember as a little kid, whenever we drove past there, I'd try to calculate what direction the wind was, what direction the rain was coming down, so that they could adequately be protected under that rock.
Yep. And in December of, I think it was 1777, General Washington actually stayed 3 days there with his encampment of 11,000 people. Prior to them, while they were deciding on where they would set up the main camp, which ended up being Valley Forge. Exactly.
Well, your building certainly has a lot of fabulous history. That's superb. But as I said, it's been renovated. So it looks like
a couple times since '97. So in 1999, we went to France and researched a central cooking unit for the kitchen, like an island cooking suite, which prior to that we had a cooking line that went along the back wall and down the side, kind of a more traditional American style line. But with that, the kind of food we wanted to do, we had to everything had to go through one sauce station and vegetable station, which is called an entremetier. And it kind of limited the amount of stuff we could do going through those two stations. So what the island stove provided for us was able to split the menu kind of in half, and half would come down one side of the line, and half would come down the other side of the line, making us twice as efficient.
Fascinating.
So that was the first renovation we did at Savona, and that was in '99. And then in 2008, we were a highly fine dining restaurant at that time, and we were having trouble filling all our seats like some restaurants do. So we're thinking, and we kind of wanted to, and I at that time was really, when I first started there, we did a lot of French cuisine, and the previous chef that I worked for from the beginning was from Saint-Tropez, and so he had coastal waters, a lot of seafood, which we still do a lot of seafood. I say we're a seafood-focused restaurant. But I wanted to explore some more pastas and work with, I love working with dough, so some pizzas, and change up our bread program at that time and kind of make it more of an everyday restaurant rather than a special occasion restaurant. So at that point, we still wanted to, we knew we could fill part of the restaurant with special occasion diners, so we kept a little gem box in the middle of the restaurant, our main dining room, where we ran a separate menu from the rest of the restaurant, which we kind of toned down and made more casual. Everything's still coming from the kitchen with the same amount of focus, but more casual everyday foods that people could come in and, just get a pizza and a glass of wine or a pasta dish or something, a little more comforting food rather than sitting down and having multiple courses and, dining. So
that was a brilliant.
Yeah, so that worked out really well for us.
Yeah.
And then we come to the third renovation that we had at Savona, and that was in 2016, where I kind of wanted to tie everything back together. Find a happy medium between everything. Run one large menu where I combine that fine dining menu, still having options for that, and then also expanding on that everyday food. So in 2016, it kind of was prompted by, we've been running this kitchen since 97, and it needed to be updated. The stove we had bought in 99 while I loved it, and I cried when it was towed out of the building, it had its day. So we contacted South Bend, an American company, and over the years I've really lent towards using American equipment in the kitchen, just because I think it's easier to maintain. They make really nice products, and it's easier for me.
How about the wood burning stove oven? When did you put?
Yeah, we put a wood stone oven in to make our pizzas when we went to the casual restaurant back in 2008.
Well, that makes a big impression when you walk in and you look into your wonderfully visible kitchen.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's very cool. So we should talk about your food. We should talk about your wines and spirits.
Okay.
Tell me about your wines and spirits program.
Well, when we originally started the restaurant in 97, Evan Lambert was one of the partners there, and he was the president of the American Sommelier Association. And he wanted this grand wine list, so we created the largest wine list in Pennsylvania at the time, with over 2,000 selections of wine. So it was a book, a book of wine. And we've maintained that over the years. We've had many fantastic sommeliers that have stayed with us for a long time. One of our sommeliers became a master sommelier, one of 13, I believe, female master sommeliers in the world at the time that she received that while she was working with our restaurant.
Fabulous.
And we have an award of excellence from Wine Spectator, and we have a very focused wine program at the restaurant.
And you have a bartender who his reputation extends beyond Savona.
Yes,
You're very lucky to have such
Yes. Pablo, when he first moved to the United States, got a job at Savona Restaurant. It was his first job there. He had just finished studying. He's a master mixologist. He studied in London, England. He's originally from Colombia. And in 2007, I think, is that when we talked to him yesterday about when he started here? I think it was 2007, he told me.
So he's been about a dozen years?
Yeah.
You're very lucky to have him.
Yeah, so he came and worked with us for a couple years, and then went out and explored some other options. And luckily, last year we had the opportunity to, and we'd maintained friends over the years, and we're good pals. So we had the opportunity to work together again, so we brought him back, and it's fun watching him work. His passion on making his own syrups and own flavorings and essences for his drinks, and getting creative on that point. It's fun when you're a chef and you're working with someone who counters you in behind the bar.
Great partnership.
Exactly. And the sommeliers we've had over the years as well. It's sitting down, learning about the wine while we're writing a wine menu. We do several wine dinners over each year. We just finished. We had one last week. Anna Tecatera came out and did a wine tasting at the restaurant with a winemaker, and we pair up the food.
You must love doing that.
Yeah, that's the real fun part. Yeah.
Well, we were lucky to stop by the restaurant and see Poppy working his magic.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take a look at that now.
We use 3 different bitters. Normally bars use only one bitter, and regular sugars. We use the Italian Amarena cherries, the nectar, original nectar from the cherries. We use old-fashioned bitters, orange bitters, and Angostura bitters. We balance it with sugar cane nectar, and we use bourbon. And also we can make it with rum, tequila, and a lot of people like it that way because it's unique and it's a completely different cocktail regarding other bars. The way they execute this classic cocktail.
Well, Poppy really gets your guests' experiences off to a great start.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about him most is, when he sees you come through the door, he'll come out from behind the bar and get all excited about, every time I see him, it's a big hug, and he's just a fantastic guy, warming guy.
I've seen a loyalty and an affection from the guests to him. They love him.
Yeah.
So besides you and Poppy, what else is it about Savona that makes it so special?
Well, say all of the cooking in the kitchen, and the service is,
your staff,
I think, second to none.
Yeah.
But in the kitchen, each day we bake our own bread. We've been doing it for years, and it's kind of a religion. It takes several hours a day, and right now we're currently. I changed the program in 2016 when we reopened the restaurant after being under construction. And what enabled me to do that was I hired back someone that I had worked with before. Her name's Angelo, and she had gone off into the world. She started with me we talked about it this morning before I came over here, 2003. So I went back to my alma mater, which is Pennsylvania College of Technology in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, to do a visiting chef. They have a restaurant up there, and they invited us back to do a visiting chef dinner. And I met her. She was a pastry major at the time. And after graduation, I'd offered her a position after working with her during that visiting chef job, and she moved down here from Williamsport and worked as my pastry assistant under the current pastry chef I had at that time, which I believe was Derek Andrus, who teaches at the restaurant school in Philadelphia now. And she worked with me for several years and then went off to be a baker down at Park in Philadelphia and other local restaurants as a pastry chef and chocolate shops and pastry shops around. And she'd come back and do little stints with me in between things, and I was lucky enough to get her back again as well. I'm kind of building my dream team here. And building a family, exactly. And so she bakes 3 different kinds of bread daily. We do a pizza bianco, which is done in the oven we were speaking about, the hearth-baked oven. And then she does a sourdough, which can change with the season. Right now she's got pumpkin seeds in it, a little semolina flour. It's a little different than just a typical sourdough. Her previous one was wheat-based, a little more whole wheat-based. And she also does a ciabatta bread as well. So we're baking those 3 kinds of bread daily. And also she's working with our doughs as well. So she also makes our pizza doughs and our pasta doughs, as well as all the desserts from the restaurant as well. We make everything in the house at the restaurant from scratch, as much as possible. I mean, I don't brine my own olives currently, although I've thought about it. I don't mill my own flour, but I've also thought of that as well. It's fun, you get into a routine, you set up a program, and then you just have to follow suit. So the bread program really speaks to the commitment that we have to baking everything every day, and it's just, if you think about it, it's every day for 22 years we've been, time to make the donuts, Wake up and bam, bread, make the bread.
Well, and you mentioned the seafood.
seafood.
We were there and saw you handling the lobsters and filleting the fish.
Yep.
I forgot what kind it was.
We buy whole fish as much as possible. I do that for a quality standpoint because you can, check and make sure it's fresh when it's whole. When it's all filleted out already, you're not sure exactly the fish that it came from. So we buy as much whole as possible. We inventory all our perishable goods on a daily basis and try and order for the next day. And I'm receiving orders 6 to 7 days a week. If I really need something on Sunday, they'll bring it out to me. And I've been working with the same purveyors for a very long time, so they know me well. I use local products as much as possible.
Oh, that's fabulous.
In the restaurant. I work with some farmers in the area.
So they're as fresh as can be.
Fresh as can be. And it's funny, the prices, when you think about it, is like when the things are as fresh as possible, that's when they're the least expensive. So not a lot of people know that. Because there hasn't been a lot of money put into transporting them, probably. Well, that and the market's saturated with that product. When it's blueberry season, blueberries, you get the big pints for the same prices. When blueberries are off, you get the little ones.
That's absolutely a good point. Yes, indeed.
Exactly. So, we're inventorying, like I said, all the perishables daily and trying to start from scratch every morning as much as possible. Making all our own stocks and sauces and everything. On
that oven, on that stove that's in the middle of the kitchen.
Exactly. So.
And the bread baker, does she also do the desserts?
Angelo also makes all the desserts and pastries, and we spin all our own gelato, make all our own sorbet. We make our sorbet from whole fruits instead of purees, which I don't know a lot of people that are doing that, and they also change with the season. So, like I said, like blueberries, just if they're readily available, she'll be like, order me a lot of blueberries, and then she'll just just make. So it's every day it's like, hey, I need this, and it's fun working with people, and we've kind of built a kitchen around that where the conversation is about bouncing ideas off of each other and having fun while we're working at the restaurant.
That's fabulous, and it kind of leads me into the next thing that I'd love to chat about, talk about, the community that you've built, the family and the dream team that you've built at the restaurant. But you're also very socially conscious about the community as a whole.
Right.
The community outside the doors of Savona. I know that you support loyally a couple of very important organizations around the area, including Taste the Main Line, including the Emergency Aid, I'm very happy to say. Why do you care so much about, what is it that you love to support? I think you've mentioned that you really care about mentoring and
I care about the relationships that I build with the people that I work with, and continuing those relationships even after they've left the restaurant. Everybody says to me that I'm the calmest chef that they've ever met.
I can think of one you contrast very greatly with.
So, it's I build relationships with the people that I work with. I get to know about their life and try and provide them with things to make them as successful as possible, because I think it falls back on my restaurant. Then, if they're happy in their life and their life is working out good, then my restaurant will run better because they care about that.
And how about young people that you can't have room for everybody who's to stay with you forever.
Right. Well, we get them to a certain point, and then they go off and fly. So we're an approved externship site for the Culinary Institute of America, the restaurant school at Walnut Hill in Philadelphia, Le Cordon Bleu. We've worked with several people. It's been 22 years of staff, and I've been lucky to maintain my staff, a lot longer than your typical restaurant would be able to keep them around.
Because you have such a warm and caring environment, probably.
We try.
They want to be loyal to you as well as you being loyal to them.
Exactly.
That's just great.
Yeah.
We really should start talking a little bit about Taste of the Main Line and about the emergency aid.
Right.
Actually, let's talk about the emergency aid. I'm wondering what it is about it that attracts you, and maybe it's that mentoring aspect and the scholarship aspect of
well,
it.
that's a big part of it. Another part of it is how much they focus on women and making women successful and empowering women. And I have 2 sisters, a mother, a wife, 4 daughters. 4 daughters. So I have a lot of women in my life that I care about. So I don't know what other charity would be better for me to focus my attention on.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful because, yes, women and children and families and the progress that children can make through education and the progress that women can make through work are definitely things that the primary things that the emergency aid focuses on. It also, besides giving scholarships and many years of mentoring for each young woman who comes through our program, we also give grants, and the grants are to nonprofits who care about the same kinds of things we care about.
Right.
So then there's
really
Taste of the Main Line that supports our work.
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic event. I'm really looking forward to it. I got to figure out what I'm making yet. I haven't even decided yet.
You're not going to disclose that today.
No.
But yeah, you get to, well, first of all, you get to show off. It's so good for each restaurant. You get to show off your fare, your talents, your flair.
Yeah. Expose many. And maybe people that haven't even been to the restaurant.
You get to show off in front of all your colleagues as well.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I love the fact that the restaurants all seem to try to one up each other.
Yeah.
Not just in the wonderful food that they serve, but also in the way they decorate the presentation. That's the right word. The presentation of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the people who come to Taste the Main Line certainly love it.
Yeah.
It's the beginning. It's the second Thursday in March every year. So this year it's March 12th.
12th.
And whereas the emergency aid itself is over 100 years old, Taste the Main Line is just over 10 years old.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll be going for another 100 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
We certainly have a lot of chefs and restaurants that support us with enthusiasm. And anyone who's listening to this broadcast should know that they are absolutely most welcome to come and avail themselves of the treat of
fine food,
enjoying
and all this stuff.
All that magnificent
all the excitement.
Product that you and your colleagues, especially Savona, puts out.
Thank you, Alice.
We're very lucky on the Main Line to have you here.
Oh, appreciate that.
You said you have 4 daughters.
I do. I have a junior at Temple studying marketing who's actually interested in the restaurant business because she's worked at the restaurant for a while, the past 3 years. And then I have 3 young ones. I have 2 in second grade, or 1 in second grade and 2 in first grade, twins. Yeah.
Twins?
Yeah, twins, yeah.
Twin little girls.
Yeah.
I'll bet they just had fun on Halloween.
Oh, they did. They did. I got to bring the rest of that candy into work. It's dangerous having it around the house.
That's probably true. Well, this has just been a wonderful conversation. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone who's listening has enjoyed it too. Yeah. We appreciate you taking time out of the kitchen to come, and also allowed us to come and tape a lot of what we got in your kitchen.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, it is. It's my pleasure, and what the emergency aid does, and I think it's fantastic.
I love hearing that.
I really
love
do.
hearing that.
I really do.
So, please join us each month as we take a look at what goes on behind the scenes of these fantastic restaurants, and we get to know their creative chefs and owners. Next month, we'll visit with another of the Main Line's finest dining treasures. Please join us then, and also join us in person to enjoy their delicious specialties at Taste the Main Line on Thursday, March 12th. For more information or to get tickets, go to tastethemainline.com. I hope we'll see you there. So next time, Bon appetit!